Hi everyone. My name is Andreas. I'm founder of mysupply. And today I have the pleasure to talk to my dear friend Florian from ASAPIO. Florian, really cool to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me. Excited.
So before we pretty much start into the topic of AI and procurement, and there's pretty much a lot of stuff we can learn from you, I'm pretty sure. I think it would be nice to start a bit with your person, because you have quite a very interesting experience coming from a couple of different companies who have been working for, especially SAP in the past, and now ASAPIO for a couple of years. So it would be, of course, cool that you can, let's say, give us some insights about your journey so far and what, let's say, took you to SAP and basically to ASAPIO. What is so cool about these two companies? Maybe you can elaborate a bit about this.
Yeah, I will. And looking back, it all makes sense and it's all interconnected. But when I started out at SAP 20 years ago, I was a consultant, basically implementing procurement solutions at customers. And that's how it started. And then from there, developed into project manager, sales, pre-sales for Ariba solutions, later on for S4HANA, when S4HANA came to the market in 2015. And by that time, I was already had a relation with ASAPIO, because ASAPIO was founded also 20 years ago. And that's when I decided to join ASAPIO, because ASAPIO, and this was in 2018. So I had 13 years at SAP, and then since 2018, I'm with ASAPIO now, and today I'm the CTO. So I'm overseeing our product and integration business. And this is what ASAPIO is about mainly today. So we are a consulting company, and we offer products, and we focus totally on three areas. One is S4HANA, the procurement application space, but also all the technology that comes along with that on BTP, AI and stuff. And we have Fieldglass, which is a workforce management solution, which we consult and implement. And then we have our general integration business. And that's that's basically what ASAPIO is all about today. And that was always in the part of my job, even back then as a junior consultant at SAP. When you think procurement systems, you always had to think integration, whether it was like catalog systems or supplier platforms or RFQ systems. And that it was always a part of these ERP processes where integration played a major role.
Mm-hmm. So very cool.
That's a journey that brought me to ASAPIO, and quite a different background to yours, I know. So
yes, that's correct. Of course, even though I was in consulting also for quite a while, but of course in a different scope. But nevertheless, it would be, of course, interesting to see your perspective on, let's say, where especially procurement is going. So you know a lot about SAP, you know a lot about Ariba and the journey SAP is taking. And you said you have been working with ASAPIO already in the past, and in figuring out that data and connectivity between systems really count. So was this also the main reason why I said, all right, ASAPIO is basically what also companies need in the future, even more than today. So that's basically even a bigger reason for joining and seeing the perspective in this business?
Absolutely. And that was quite obvious when, SAP diverted into acquiring Ariba and Fieldglass and all these cloud applications, which are great and powerful applications. And we saw that it's crucial to have a real tight and good interaction with these core ERP processes. Because I think what's is obvious, and it's still valid today, and I think it's also to be found in SAP strategies, that you always need like a system of record, which is S4HANA clearly today. But then there's a lot of procurement processes that evolved around that. And so bringing that together for tight integration, that was what we saw makes then the solution successful at customers. So running it separately is maybe where they started with, but integrating it and be able to automate processes across systems, that's where we see where actually customers invest. And I think that's where, especially in the procurement space, there's a lot of efficiency that can be gained from doing so, because there's a lot of great applications out there, big portfolios, and they are very powerful. But to get the right use out of it, I think you need to interconnect them in a good way.
Yeah, it was very impressive. So we both attended the SAP Spend Connect in Las Vegas last year, and it was really cool, let's say, in seeing you interacting with all the guys from SAP, because pretty much SAP and ASAPIO seem to be very married also in many ways, and that you're working very closely, and it feels a bit like you never really left SAP. And still, let's say, even though you're right now not an employee of SAP anymore, you're talking to guys from SAP all day long and working very closely. So I think this was a really great opportunity from your time working directly in SAP to taking all these good relationships to become a Solex partner also for ASAPIO, not only during this time, but let's say also taking this journey. I think this was a really big advantage for you, and getting all these insights that is pretty much important also for understanding SAP and how things are working. I can imagine this was a big advantage.
Yes, and that's not just my opinion. Also, the founders of ASAPIO were ex-SAP, so I think it's crucial to be very close with them and to also follow their strategies to give the best solution to the customers, because it's mutual customers. So our ultimate goal is to make the SAP customer happy, a little even more happy than what he can get from SAP. And there's always a room for partners, and that's always been part of SAP strategy. So that's why I think this feels natural to do so, and I think it's also crucial to do so, and a necessity to be in line and aligned with SAP. And yes, that brought us also into interesting partnerships where we today even provide the technology for standard integration products to SAP.
Yeah. So, of course, knowing a lot about, let's say, what SAP is doing, has been doing, and also having an outlook into where is this going. And on the other hand, seeing also customers, let's say, struggling with certain situations. So basically, would be very interesting to learn what is your perspective on the current, especially talking about procurement market, and what is basically also the development that this market is taking, especially in terms of where are the things evolving. So of course for us, it's data is a crucial thing about also utilizing AI and having new use cases. What is your perspective on this? Where is this all going? Where are the customers today? Many customers you already have, so either shared customers with SAP, or let's say customers you're dealing with, let's say also on your own. So what is your perspective where this is going? Where are the customers today, and where are they heading?
Okay, let me quickly describe what our customers are, because then I think it's good to know that to understand the perspective that because I have my perspective on that from our customers. Okay, so and it's mostly large enterprise or larger SAP customers, usually running globally, usually having to deal with multiple systems, with multiple regions where they operate their business. And so from these customers, what we see currently is many of them are or even past S/4HANA transformation. So they are ready to innovate. Okay, so they mastered this, like the painful steps, and they're now in a situation where they have great technology from SAP. I think at this point of time, SAP is offering technology-wise in terms of market fit. It's the best we've seen so far, and I think that's really great situation for them to start innovating even more. And then the second thing they have to deal with is definitely there's no more area in procurement where software is optional. So we are past that phase where you could introduce a brand new software product to replace whatever paper-based process. So it's they always have to deal with operating the current solution, gaining efficiency out of that while innovating and going to the go-to solution and the future solution. So it's they really, that's a struggle. I mean, that's always been there, I guess, but it's even stronger for these large companies. And it's definitely the budgets are tight, especially with the current economic situation. So, and still you want to gain more efficiency. Still you want to innovate because that's what you need to do as a procurement department or as a CPO. Okay, so it's there needs to be a benefit. There needs to be a business gain out of the software. But I think it's again the best time to invest, because there's a lot of great, not just technology, but productized technology, like your solution, for example, that works into that picture, and that is which is integratable with this S/4HANA systems and all the system landscapes. And so that's, I think, what we see.
Yeah. So do you often see that, let's say, data or integration is a big boundary that avoids, let's say, really increasing the efficiency in a lot of processes, where you see a lot of systems that are not pretty much working with each other? Is this a big topic where you see, all right, wow, if we connect these two things, basically, and I assume there are many use cases where there's a big efficiency increase, because people are, let's say, historically a bit afraid about interfaces. Oh no, of course there is something. Oh, it's two systems.
Right.
You need to talk to each other. That's a horrible thing. So it's a 2-year project now. So how do you see this?
And it's not anymore. I mean, it used to be like that for many years. Integration was pain that was to be avoided. To keep time to market and project efforts slow. But then this is long ago, because there's so many great integration products also from SAP. There's a big part of their BTP portfolio is about integration nowadays, and and it offers way more than what we traditionally had back in the days at SAP. So that's why I think, first of all, integration is not that much effort at all. And then again, done right, you can leverage the software and the benefit of the software a lot better. So we have an example customer. I'm not allowed to name it, but when they introduced the integration from their field class workforce management processes with the ERP procurement processes, which meant, so like when they hired a vendor worker, they had automated then all these follow-on processes that lead to a purchase requisition, that lead to a purchase order, that allow the invoicing of these services from the supplier to our customer and all that stuff. And once this was integrated and automated by that, they had 10 times more traffic on that system. So which means not doing integration, this is a blocker, I think, but integration itself, it's there's great and convenient ways today with various offerings, event-driven integration, API-based integration. There's a lot of APIs now available with S/4HANA, which was never the case in these previous systems with from SAP. So that's something where I think there's no reason not to integrate, right? Is my camera gone black?
Yeah, the camera was basically turned off. Now it was back for a second.
Sure if it overheated. Okay, I hope you can see him. I'm trying to get it back on, right?
No problem. Yeah, cool. So it would be very interesting also to get a bit your insights about, let's say, where SAP is heading, and where you see that the market is going. So of course we are coming from very, let's say, big procurement suites historically, having Ariba, having Coupa, having right now also Evalua on the market, and a couple of more. How do you see that this market, especially also talking about SAP customers, SAP ERP customers, so they have historically a selection of getting one of these suites and then try to solve everything that they can potentially do with these suites? How do you see where this is going? So will this be the future also of, let's say, working in the SAP environment in procurement, or where do you see this is going?
It's expanding in two directions, I think. One is you can see that SAP is packing more and more automation and business AI into their products, whether it's S4 or like the individual solutions, Ariba, Fieldglass, and so on. And then the second is that they offer like orchestrating platforms. Latest announcement was Ariba Intake Management so you can create business workflows across all these systems. Yeah. So functionality in each of these applications, I'm sure, will grow. And but then again, if you further connect them, now that creates even more additional use cases. This allows especially in procurement, we see that customers are tending now to include more user groups. Okay? So it's not just a procurement expert that uses a specific software from SAP. They to gain efficiency, to reduce communication efforts, they expanding now. So they like more and more user groups can create purchase requisitions, or they have, because you have great automation tools and quality checks in between that allow the ordinary user to work as like with procurement tasks. So they are distributing that workload that requires orchestration tools. Or let's say you have a couple of specific and highly specific applications built to purpose for all these procurement cases, but you need to guide your ordinary user to the right application. And that's where like Ariba Intake Management or other orchestrating solutions are designed for.
So what I personally also, we are also SAP partners, as you know, and what I like very much with SAP is in generally that they are pretty much partner open. They are partner friendly environments, and so also, for example, the intake management you have been discussing is also open for partners. So we also look into integrating here. And this is basically also something from my perspective, which is also driving speed and being, let's not a closed shop, but being partner friendly, having open APIs where basically nearly everyone can integrate with. And I think that's also a great chance of being a partner, not only as an integration partner as you are, but also like a software vendor providing procurement software for automation as we do. And I think that's a great thing. And I think that's really something which I can imagine is also driving a lot the speed of development in the ecosystems of SAP. How do you see this?
Yeah, I can confirm. First of all, like the SAP was always very partner-minded. So it's partner first was their claim at one time. Not sure what is today, but it's definitely have a strong partner-based strategy when it comes to bringing this still. I mean, it's huge, it's scalable. For me, it's still the most powerful ERP suite you can get. And then this is something you need partners to implement it at customers. And that's a great ecosystem, and we feel very welcome there. And then on the other hand, they offering a great range of products and technology, and this again, you need an ecosystem that has the skill set that invests into content, and that's also what we partners do for SAP and ultimately then for the customers. So talking Ariba Intake Management, we already have content prepared for the market launch. So because we will see a lot more of these orchestrating platforms are customer run platforms in the end. So it's part SaaS solutions, but it will definitely need custom specific or customized content in the end, right? Because if you're integrating all these solutions, that's a very custom specific situation, and that's a great thing, because one benefit of SAP's ERP solutions was always that they are highly customizable to the business need of our customer base, and that's something they keep up. That's but they want to have it outside. So SAP doesn't want you to modify this pre-delivered software and business processes for good reason, because that keeps you from updating, that keeps you from receiving the standard product innovations. That's the whole idea behind this clean core concept of SAP. It's not about that you should not use and extend the software. It's just do it in a way that is that works well also in operations and in application lifecycle management. So that's also where these like custom managed orchestration platforms can play a great role. And so I'm happy that SAP announced that. And so we are working with it already in a preview way, but it's definitely something where we also will invest in terms of skill or product content or whatever.
What do you think about Joule? So there's a lot of stuff that is announced also for Joule, the speech assistant of SAP. That's, I would say, today still a bit early stage, but I think there's a lot of stuff planned around Joule, and also a Joule Studio that is basically announced and should be delivered in the next months. So also for us, a great opportunity to connect our agent into this. So what is your thoughts on this?
Absolutely, it's absolutely necessary that SAP does that, because they need to provide, and that's what they do with Joule, is they provide basically a platform or a service that allows the customers to integrate AI into the core ERP processes. And this is something that is also possible, of course, by other means, like they also offer the business AI services on BTP. But bringing that very close to the core and where the data resides, that is, I think, crucial for the success of that. And this is, but again, Joule it's not a closed service. So it's possible to integrate your own AI service behind that. It's something where we also, we're working together on enabling your AI service to do that. And so I think it's something that is definitely the right way to go for SAP, and bringing AI close to the established core products and core services and to where the data is. That helps a lot to being able to adopt it for customers.
Yeah, so really, really exciting times. So let's see where this is all going. Also, where the whole procurement solutions are going. I think also BTP will also, not only today but also in the future, play a significant role in these integrations. So basically, business process automation and everything related to this brings a lot of options to integrate deep into the SAP environment. So meaning, for example, a partner has a solution that is connected to BTP. You can do things like directly create a purchase requisition, a PO, and whatever objects you like. So that's basically a great chance to doing these integrations on BTP. But of course, there's many customers that are not using BTP yet, of course. But how do you see this coming? So is BTP, will this become the new standard? Or do you think, let's say, there will be a lot of customers just saying not going to switch to BTP and look for alternative integrations? How do you see this development coming?
I think with regards to BTP, the platform is great. And the services they're offering, it's a wide range. It's complete from my perspective. Again, it's to make this usable to our line of business customers or user groups. It requires content. It requires pre-configured use cases. Yeah? So it needs to be in a software style. It's not sufficient traditionally if you only deliver the technology, but the technology is there. And now creating products out of this technology. This is, for example, what Ariba Intake Management does. It uses business build and the low-code platform. It uses build process automation, all that stuff. And then I think that's the direction I see with SAP, to use their own great technology to create products. And that's, I think, the right way. And that allows then also for easier adoption or even extension by customers and partners.
Cool. Would be interesting to learn about, let's say, what is the needs that also your customers come around the corner with. So what is the use cases that let's say you're eager to solve with your customers, where data integration really plays a significant role, especially looking for procurement, of course. Of course, we pretty much know about your liaison that you have, of course, with SAP and Fieldglass. So that's a big topic for you, I guess, and it will remain being a big topic. So what is the use cases you mainly deal with, and where do you think that customers are benefiting, let's say, the most from getting certain significant data integrations done into data lakes that allows also for using smart AI to really do significant improvements in their efficiency?
So I think two major topics that we see frequently is master data distribution. So you have your accounting objects, you have personnel master data. There's a lot of absolutely crucial master data which need to be present in all these applications or tools to be able to just use it. And then the second part is the transactional data, like the purchase requisitions, the purchase orders, and ultimately the invoices. I think that what we do most is invoice integration. And then that's because if you reflect these business documents back into your S/4HANA system, then you also have the great basis for analytics cases. Yeah, this data is then visible in Business Data Cloud or DataSphere or other analytics products of SAP. You can do process mining on that. So integrating back into the core processes, and especially with master data and this traditional, basic, almost old school documents, I think that's key. If you do that successfully and in a scalable and automatable way, then I think you gained a lot out of this, whatever application you're connecting to. But that's something we see most of the time. And then there's in terms of innovation, we see now customers want to break up these processes and ingest AI-based automations. And that's what we built for your mysupply solution, is that you can channel out the purchase requisition of S/4HANA into mysupply for automated sourcing, and then get the result back and continue in S/4HANA with the purchase order for the specific supplier that was selected by the platform. So there's a lot of that stuff, and then innovations like small helpers that ease the day of a procurement employee, like uploading contract PDFs and extracting data so they can get hold of the outline of the contract. Yeah? And that's there's many use cases, and you see a lot of software now investing in these small little helpers. In Fieldglass, we have a Gen AI functionality where it improves this manually written job descriptions that you post in Fieldglass to suppliers, and that's so combination of usually cloud-powered AI and automation with the traditional processes, and always traditional processes integrated with the core system. To have this system of records, to also have a good basis for analytics, even real-time analytics. Mm-hmm. That's what we are usually working on with the customers.
Yeah, so it's basically every time around the ERP system. That's basically very standard in of course in all over Europe using SAP. Many customers have a very clear ERP base. And based on that, of course, SAP is looking for doing something here, doing something there. So you expect this is becoming more flexible also in the future, that you can tailor it more for your specific company. Like you say, all right, I don't have an Ariba, but I want to use the intake management as well. Or I want to just use these modules, and this is just something I'm picking for myself. and you think it will be easier to, let's say, make this more individual, adjusted for your
I guess so.
specific.
I mean, we already see in here that SAP is working on that, so making also the Ariba suite more modular, even more modular. But then on the other hand, the core ERP processes, they will always have like a monolithic style, because you need to have that end-to-end process compliance within one system. So that's why I don't think S/4HANA will break up into microservices or something. So it's more like this will stay as the core, as a stable core, very extremely powerful. I mean, core is maybe a too small word for what it can deliver. But then all these other offerings outside the core, I think they are becoming. I mean, we see them becoming more modular already. I think that's what will come from SAP, to be more flexible and then use orchestration tools to have the customer select the actual scope of the solution.
You may allow me the catchy question, but let's say, what do you think is currently pretty hot in procurement? What is the topics, let's say, many of your customers are looking into, where they see a big benefit in, let's say, working also with you, in, let's say, changing things in procurement significantly, especially with the use of AI. So what do you think is the main use cases for now that companies, especially enterprise customers, are looking into?
It's a tough question, because in my mind I see it's just a wide range of what's important. It depends on the stage where they are in their transformation. So let's say they have transformed, they have a modern system as like S/4HANA as a baseline, they have Ariba, they have the Ariba suite, and then from there they are definitely looking into process automation, and again AI-based purchasing automations, like evaluating purchase requisitions, suggesting PO approval strategies and stuff. So it's a lot of AI as a helper, as an optimization in the process. But then on the other hand, we have these customers that are in the middle of their transformation. They have different point of view. They need to get rid of legacy interfaces which need technical redesign. They have a different level of where they invest. But I'd say it's all about finding the innovation, because these programs are huge. You need to have a very good gain, a business gain out of it to justify the investments. And so that's where they're really looking into where can we get better. And I think it's again process automation, and that's a wide range. I know it's a crazy too short answer, but that's something we see a lot. And there's a lot of questions. You sometimes get lists from customers with what they imagine that could probably be done, and then you need to evaluate what's actually possible with the current release they have, and what can be built on top. And so that's something we see more and more coming. And that didn't happen in the past. In the past, it was more like we had, if you were replacing maybe some previous solutions, so we were working a lot towards to replace old functionality. Now it's more like, no, we usually have achieved that old functionality. I think it's the parity of functionality is definitely, we are past that. It's now about what can be done in addition. And there's a lot to implement. I mean, talking about our customer base, which is very big customers usually, always, of course, takes time to roll out new features. But I think they're hungry for innovations, and when we can deliver them in a very consumable, productized way, that's what they need. Again, not just the technology, not just the idea or the use case, but consumable software or consumable style of offering that. Speaking as a partner and to another partner that is in that ecosystem, I think that's quite obvious. But also, I think that should address our customers' needs.
By the way, due to the fact that this is a live webinar, of course, also all the visitors, also everybody watching, can of course also write a question or any comment if you like to in the chat. So of course Florian and me can also try to answer if you have any question. What would be interesting to understand is, let's say, of course, we have seen quite a journey over the last years of changing priorities. So we had Corona times where instability in supply chains were a big topic. So it doesn't matter how much it costs. So hopefully I just get my demand. Then we are, let's say, coming to times where ESG was a very big one. Everybody was focusing on Lieferkettenpflichten-Sorgfaltsgesetz, yeah, and everything ESG related, and just focusing basically on this one, a big bubble. Right now, everything is also changing a lot again, that especially costs and prices really matter even more. Right now, we have the situation, of course, with potential tariffs coming, let's say, from the US. So, of course, it's all happening in certain waves right now. So how do you see this currently? What is the priorities where customers are right now looking for when they spend 100,000 in software or doing some improvements? What is their criterion right now? Where do you think the focus of especially your customer base is?
One part is definitely regulatory requirements like sustainability reporting and stuff. That needs data provisioning out of procurement or production processes, for example. And another one is, because you mentioned supply chains. It's even more about real time. In any kind of business process where we do consulting, we see a need for more real time data. There's many reasons why it should be real time. First of all, you need to react fast if conditions change. But then on the other hand, in a growth-based economy, the number of processes is growing, and so transferring data from a pricing system to stores once a day is not enough if you have the stores all around the globe. So that's I think that's several requirements that lead customers to go for real-time integration. And it doesn't matter if it's like a real-time update of a locked supplier entry, or if it's a real-time update of some stock information on the website. So it's on a web shop, so that we see that real-time demand a lot. And also in procurement. And I mean, this is also what we know as consumers. If you order products, you want the shipment update, you want to know where the package is, and this is something we will see more and more, I think, also in procurement. And
very cool. If there is no question that I missed to ask, basically, that you would like to answer, you can help me out here. Other than that, it was really a pleasure talking to you. I learned a lot. It was great learning about more insights about SAP and where you see the journey is taken. Thank you very much, Florian.
Oh, thank you for having me. And it was just, it's our point of view as in the role that we have in this ecosystem. And I'm sure there's others, but happy if we could give some insight in that. And I'm open for questions as well, of course.
So, of course, if you later have any questions, you can just still ask them also to all the visitors. You can just ask them, of course, on LinkedIn, and Florian and me will answer if there's any questions also later. So thank you very much, Florian, for joining today. All the best. Have an amazing rest of the week, and of course, thanks everyone for visiting us today, for joining, and I hope you find also session very interesting. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.